Let's now explore different schools in literary theory. That is, let's first take up structuralism, which is more, which theorizes whole meaning production from the point of view of language and the nature of language. So, how would you put structuralism in practice after learning what structuralism is and how to really then apply it to the text, to read it and to understand the production of meaning out of it?
Right. Yeah. This is a whole history behind it. If we can go back to where we stopped earlier, the question of epistemology, there are quite a few terms in this history of epistemology. The term episteme itself, if you take the term, Aristotle made a distinction among three related terms in his work Nicomache in Ethics. The first is episteme itself, which is theoretical knowledge. He distinguishes episteme from two other terms. The second is phronesis, which is wisdom, ethics. And then you have techne. Techne is, you can translate it as craft. The kind of knowledge that you require in order to make a thing or to repair a thing. So, one of the changes that have happened in this history is a change in the idea of language. Let me give Wittgenstein's theory of language. As perhaps some of you know, Wittgenstein had an about turn with regard to his idea of language. His first theory of language, which is articulated in the book Tractatus Logico-Philosophicus, is called the picture theory of language. The idea is that you can have a very precise kind of language with the help of which you can actually describe the world. So it is called the picture theory of language. But Wittgenstein changed his view of language quite radically in the second phase of his thought, and the corresponding book, Philosophical Investigations, came out almost 3 decades after he had finished the first one. The second position is that if you want to understand the meaning of an utterance, you say something, and if you want to understand its meaning, you can't look for reference to the terms that you use in the world. Wittgenstein pertinently made his observations regarding religious terms, terms such as soul, God. Can you really find the reference for these words? Instead, he said, if you want to understand language, you have to understand its function. So it's like understanding the function of pieces on a chessboard. You can't look for reference. So what we call post-structuralism today has had certain ingredients to it. Wittgenstein's idea of language games is one of them, which is the idea that corresponds to his later phase of thought, not the picture theory of language. So what are the other components of this new climate? We have Foucault's idea of discourse, Derrida's deconstruction. In a sense, we have to begin discussion of these concepts with, say, Ferdinand de Saussure. So who came up with a very different theory of language? So take the example of the word dog. So when you say, you utter the word dog, you write down D-O-G. So what is its meaning? Does it refer to the animal? No, it does not. It refers to our understanding or our idea of the animal called dog. So there is nothing about the letters D-O-G or the utterance dog which tells us that this is the term with which you should refer to the animal. There's nothing about it. Then why do we call it dog? Because it's, fundamental sociology would say it is quite arbitrary. It is a matter of social convention. Yeah. So from this notion of language, we have the post-structuralist concepts of signifier and signified. So what is signifier? Signifier is the written form or the spoken form. And the signified is its meaning, the meaning of the term. When you reach deconstruction, when you come to Derrida's theory of deconstruction, we come to the notion that the relation between the signifier and the signified is merely a gliding one. To give another mundane example, you check out the dictionary, you look for a word, and you look for the meaning of the word, it is another word. What is the meaning of that word? It's another word. It's another word, and it goes on like that. So Derrida would call this an endless postponement of meaning. So you cannot arrive at an ultimate signified. So that is the whole chain of thought that culminates in Derrida's deconstruction.